Today, we're going to cut through all the noise about the AI wars. It's not really about which model is the biggest or the smartest anymore. The real question, the one that actually matters, is way more practical. Which AI is the right one for the job? Exactly. The whole conversation has moved on from this simple king of the hill contest to something much more strategic. It's all about building a specialized toolbox where you pick the perfect tool to solve a specific problem and get the most bang for your buck. So here's how we're going to break it all down today. We'll start with a big showdown, the generalists versus the specialists. Then we'll see them in action out in the wild. After that, we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the cost of all this intelligence. And finally, we'll give you a guide for picking your own champion and take a peek at what's coming next. Okay, let's dive right in. To really get a handle on this, you first have to understand the two main players going head-to-head here, the giants and the specialists. So on one side, you've got the heavyweights, large language models, LLMs. Think of the big names like GPT-4 or Claude. These things are trained on a massive chunk of the internet, making them incredible all-arounders. Then on the other side, you've got small language models, or SLMs. They're the leaner, meaner cousins, built for speed, efficiency, and very specific jobs. So let's get down to it. What really sets these two apart? Believe me, it's about a lot more than just their size or the number of parameters, which, by the way, you can just think of as all the little knobs the AI turns to learn and connect ideas. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting because this lays out the fundamental trade-offs. LLMs, they give you that incredible top-of-the-line performance for really complex creative stuff. But they're hungry. They need huge amounts of power, and they usually live in the cloud. SLMs, on the other hand, can run right on your local devices, even your phone. This makes them way faster, cheaper, and, this is a big one, more secure because your data never has to go anywhere. And here's a perfect way to think about it. An LLM is kind of like your family doctor, a general practitioner. They know a little bit about everything and can handle most things you throw at them. But an SLM, that's your specialist. You wouldn't ask your heart surgeon about a weird rash, right? But for a cardiac issue, they are absolutely the best person to see. SLMs are just like that, trained on very specific data to become true experts in one thing. All right, so that's the theory. But let's talk about the real world. How are companies actually using these models to get real, measurable results, like right now? Well, LLMs are proving to be total performance multipliers. We're seeing them automate super personalized sales emails, run customer service bots that can actually hold a complex conversation, and slash customer response times by as much as 30%. They are doing the real heavy lifting for businesses. Now, SLMs, they're the efficiency experts. Since they can run right on a device, they're perfect for things like securely pulling data or tagging information in a snap. You have models like DeepSeek Coder V2 writing code with scary good accuracy, and Mini CPM doing advanced image recognition right there on your phone. And the impact? It's huge. Just look at this. The support platform Assembled used the LLM Claude for its AI agent, and get this, they cut their customer support escalations in half, a 50% drop. I mean, that is just a massive win for everyone involved. And I love this quote from Assembled's co-founder, John Wang. He says it's not about replacing people. It's about totally transforming how they work. The idea is to give your team AI superpowers, right? Let the AI handle the boring, repetitive stuff so the humans can focus on the complex problems where their expertise really, really shines. Which brings us to, well, one of the biggest hurdles for any company trying to use AI, figuring out the costs. And I'm not just talking about money here. We're talking about that tricky balancing act between performance, privacy, and your budget. Because let's be real, all this incredible power comes with choices. You can't just have it all. Peak performance, ironclad privacy, and a rock-bottom price tag. Nope. You've got to figure out what matters most to you. And this slide right here, this is the whole ballgame. Check this out. Research on Meta's Llama 3 model showed that its smaller version gets you almost 96% of the performance of the giant one, while using less than 12% of the memory. Think about that. For a tiny, tiny drop in performance, you get absolutely massive savings. This isn't just a tech spec, it's a total game changer. It means you don't need a massive budget to get world-class AI anymore. So this leads you to a strategic crossroads. Do you run a small model on your own hardware for maximum privacy and control, or a big one if you've got the cash for the hardware? Or do you just use an online service that's easy and low maintenance, but means you have to be okay with your data living in the cloud? So with all that in mind, how in the world do you actually choose? All right, let's walk through a super simple framework to help you pick the right AI for your mission. Honestly, it just boils down to these 4 questions. First, what's the job? If it's broad and creative, you're probably looking at an LLM. If it's narrow and specific, an SLM is your best bet. Second, how tight is your security? If your data can't leave the building, you need a local model, period. Third, what's your budget? And fourth, how fast does this thing need to be? Does it need to answer in real time? And hey, to give you a head start, here's a quick little cheat sheet for some of today's top models. Need help with complex code? Claude is amazing. Doing research where you need solid citations? Perplexity AI is the king. Just need a great all-rounder? ChatGPT is still a solid go-to. And if you just need pure, blazing speed, you gotta check out Gemini Flash. So, where is all this headed? What does this whole trend towards specialization really mean for the future of AI? The single biggest takeaway is this. The search for one master AI that can do everything, well, that's over. The future is all about building your own custom toolbox, filled with a bunch of different specialized models, with each one being the absolute best at its one specific job. You can think of it as phased integration. It's a lot like how self-driving cars developed. We didn't just leap to fully autonomous cars overnight, right? We started with cruise control, then came lane assist. It's the same idea. AI will be woven into our lives in careful stages, mastering one proven task at a time before we hand over the keys completely. So, to wrap it all up, first, stop asking which AI is best and start asking which AI is best for this. Second, do not sleep on small language models. They're a powerful, efficient, and private alternative. Third, remember that every AI decision you make is a balancing act between performance, cost, and security. And finally, get ready to build your toolbox, because the future is all about having the right tool for the job. Which leaves us with one last thing to chew on. As our AI toolboxes get filled with more and more of these specialized experts, how are we going to choose which one to listen to? And more importantly, who's on the hook when one of them gets it wrong?